Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. We have Lauren Turton here with us today. How you doing, Lauren?
I'm great. I'm so thankful to be here this afternoon. It's only 2 p.m. in sunny San Diego, California, and I know for some of New York watchers, it's 5 o'clock for you, so it's later in your day. Sure. And I'm excited to be here and connect with your audience and share some golden nuggets with you all.
Absolutely. It's not every day that we get to talk to a business coach. So I'd like for you to, first of all, take a moment and bask in the ambiance that is our platform here. We're finishing the week strong on this Friday with a great conversation. I'd like for you to text someone, tag someone, like and subscribe to this video because we're getting ready to have a valuable conversation with a business coach. Lauren, where are you from? Talk to us.
So I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. I'm from a suburb called Centerville, and okay. I halfway grew up in West Virginia because when I was 8 years old, my parents became whitewater rafting guides. So I'm from Ohio and from West Virginia.
Hold up. I got to say something about Centerville. I wrestled people from Centerville. I played football against guys from Centerville, and I've driven through there dozens of times. I'm also from Ohio. Centerville is very, very familiar to me.
My uncle was one of the wrestling coaches at Centerville High School.
Really? Okay. It's a small world.
It is. It is. Because you're from Cleveland, correct?
Originally, yes, I am.
Oh, that makes sense then. I was like, wait, New York, why would he know? But yeah, of course, if you're from Cleveland, because Centerville it's a Division I school. So sports are very, very big time there.
Sure.
I was not in sports though. I was in marching band.
Okay.
I was in the drum line, and I was in the musicals, and I excelled in art classes. So I was not on the sports fields.
Mm-hmm. Centerville was a neighborhood with, well, a community rather, with really good schools though.
Really good schools. Really, really good schools. Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood was really interesting because my mother, she's an immigrant from Japan. And so I grew up with, one parent that is an immigrant, one parent that's full American. My mom did move to the States when she was younger. But it was a really interesting upbringing because I had these two different cultures in my household. And as a child, I didn't know what that meant or what that was. I just knew that I did some things differently than my other friends. And then when I was 8 years old, my parents became whitewater rafting guides. So that was something that also made my childhood really unique. Every weekend we would travel from Dayton, Ohio to Fayetteville, West Virginia, and we'd spend our weekends. My parents would be working on the rivers, and my brother and I would be, hanging out the campground, rafting, kayaking, rock climbing, all types of, outdoor adventurous extreme sports. So it was a really, really interesting upbringing. I also grew up next to my grandparents, and they are who pushed me to excel in the arts. And so I was always so grateful to have their support, and my grandma always cheering me on when I was doing well with things in the art world.
Now, you said that your mother was from Japan and your father was from where?
My father's American.
Oh, okay. He's American. Mm-hmm. And what age were you when they started helping people to learn to whitewater raft?
So they became whitewater rafting guides when I was only 8 years old, and my little brother was 5. And so I grew up every weekend in West Virginia doing everything in the mountains. And so it was a really, really unique way to grow up. I only knew a couple other kids that grew up this way. Everybody else was like, where are you going on the weekends? What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going to West Virginia. They're like, what are you talking about? Right. And so it was it was a really unique way to grow up. Something that this might be interesting to your audience is when I was 8 years old, that's my first memory of being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
My mom told me when I asked her, can you give me money for a candy bar? She said, no, we will not give you money for a candy bar. We feed you the essentials, figure out on your own how to buy a candy bar. And I was like, I'm 8. How can I buy a candy bar? I don't have money. And she was like, figure out how to get money. Mm-hmm. So one of my parents' friends, she was making jewelry, and I went up to her and I said, can you teach me how to do that?
Right.
I need to know how to do this. She was like, yeah, okay. So she taught me how to make, necklaces and bracelets. Then I went to my parents' friends and I sold them the necklaces and the bracelets. I went to my parents' manager of the gift shop and I said, can I set up a little stand and sell my jewelry to the customers? She said, yeah, of course you can. And that is my first memory of being an entrepreneur, is when my mom said, no money for a candy bar for you. Figure out how to make your own money. And I did.
Let that be encouragement to all the parents out there, that your 8-year-old is capable of figuring out how to generate an income, how to generate a system, how to start making something happen. An 8-year-old is somebody who, to her point, is capable of going out there and starting their own business.
Yes.
Now, when you say whitewater rafting, I'm thinking a fast running stream. You're down in a creek somewhere. I mean, that was mind blowing. Like, I want to spend a little bit of time on that, because I used to love stuff like that. I still love stuff like that. Kids, they love to go to the swimming pool, but whitewater rafting is like going to the swimming pool times 40.
Times 100. The way that my parents got into it is my dad's younger brother. He's very adventurous. He had spent years down in Costa Rica, and he had been a guide for years. My mom and dad would go about once a year to go, on a trip. In West Virginia, there's the New River and the Gully River. And the Gully River is very extreme. It's like one of the top 10 rivers in the world. It only releases 6 weeks out of the year. Okay. And one weekend, my dad went, and he went home to my mom and he said, honey, I've been thinking I want to become a guide. And my mom was like, we have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old in full-time jobs. What are you talking about becoming a guide? And my dad was just like, I don't know. Something in me is telling me that we need to do this, and we'll figure it out. My parents figured out how to manage their full-time jobs, how to train, and then become guides. So from the spring to the fall, they were working, full-time Monday through Friday, driving to West Virginia 4 hours, working, 8 to 10 hours on the river Saturday, 8 to 10 on Sunday, driving home Sunday night with an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
What were the benefits of being a guide? Did they also get paid for that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a paid position. You get paid to do it. And for them, what they loved is that they were essentially getting paid to do what they loved, which was whitewater rafting. And so again, they just figured it out. It wasn't their full-time job. They were weekend warriors, only went on the weekends, and they had their Monday through Friday jobs that they worked during the week. But a lot of sacrifice went into that. And when I look back on that, I feel like that's where I saw examples of sacrifice in business. My parents wanted to do something that was very different, very extreme. And they said, we're going to figure this out because we know in the long run, this is a way that we want to live our lives. And so they figured it out.
So essentially you and your sibling you two were on an entrepreneurial journey with your parents early on. So you were like born into business, or the business mindset, essentially.
Yes, definitely born into the figure it out mindset. I always remember that being, a part of our upbringing, is figuring it out, working hard, doing things on your own. With my grandparents being immigrants from Japan, that also adds to that mindset, because immigrants have so many challenges when they come to America. My grandma, she's an amazing woman, and she has a very, very strong Japanese accent. So all of those things that come with being an immigrant, I saw my family have to overcome so many things.
Like what?
Well, racist things, of course. When somebody has a strong Japanese accent, people don't say nice things. And so I remember being little and people saying things and seeing like my mom or my grandma like reply to that and then teach me like, that's not how you speak to other people. There's people from all over the world. They speak differently than you. That's okay. It's not weird or strange. It's just different. In business, my grandparents came over from Japan and they started opening up karate schools in the US. And I would see them open a school might fail. They'd open up another one, and they always would keep moving forward on opening up their businesses and doing what they can. And they still own karate schools to this day. And, they're grandparents, they're up in age, but they're still doing it. And I think that's such a testament to the long haul that you have as an entrepreneur. There's so many ups and downs that can happen. But if you keep pushing and moving forward, you can make it happen through all the challenges and obstacles.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I'm gathering a lot. I'm gathering a lot already from your story. I think it's so interesting, just what I'm learning so far. Did you also learn karate?
I took for a few years, yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was middle school like for you? What were you doing? What was your mindset? What was going on with you?
Middle school, I wasn't super popular. I was just friends with all the different groups, but I wasn't one of the cool girls. I didn't dress super cool, and my parents were really strict, so I wasn't doing all of the fun things that my friends were doing. And so middle school for me, I remember doing, I excelled in art, I excelled in singing. That's when I started getting into band, and I chose the drums to play. And I just remember middle school for me being very normal,
Right.
if you will.
Yeah.
Even though on the weekends we were going to West Virginia, at that point I'd been doing it for so many years that we had our family routine and I was engaged in my activities, but nothing extreme or out there in my middle school time.
Mm-hmm. When you say that your regimen was strict at the time, meaning your parents had high expectations of you, yes. They probably wanted you to study, several hours a day. What was your schedule like?
I would get off the bus from school and I would have a list of chores that I had to complete. And this was back when it was okay for younger kids not to have babysitters, and we would watch our younger siblings. And mind you, we didn't have cell phones back then either. And it would just be my brother and I at home until my parents arrived home from work between like 5 and 6 o'clock. So we'd have like 3 hours, just my brother and I would have to make sure that we both completed our chores and all of our homework so that when mom and dad came home, we would eat dinner together as a family. And then we would have a little bit of TV time, and we always went to bed super early. And that was our schedule. On weekends, I wasn't really allowed to stay the night at friends' houses. My parents were really strict about that. I could have some friends over, but it wasn't the type of house where like all the kids were coming to hang out because, my mom is from Japan. And so Japanese culture is very strict, high expectations. Everything needs to be clean. And so they didn't always like when we would have a bunch of kids over and making the house messy. So that's what life was like in middle school for us. But then on the flip side, on the weekends that we were in West Virginia, my brother and I would just be alone, him and I, while my parents were working on the river. So we would go hiking, we would play at the campground, everything outdoors. Again, this was the time before cell phones, before iPads, before laptops. So we had to make our own fun.
Right. What were some of the games that you all played out there in the wilderness? What did you do?
I remember, well, of course I was always in charge because I'm the older sister. Right. And so we would always like make up plays or make up skits. And we had these characters that we would play, and we would, like play in the mud, but I'd be like, we're going to make pottery and we're going to sell it. Mm-hmm. Things like that. That's what we were doing. Or, of course, like hide and seek. And, a lot of we were at a campground, so there was a lot of dogs. I remember always playing with the dogs at the campground. Just anything outdoors, we were making things up to do.
Would you say that type of outdoor play, the entire lifestyle, would you say that it makes a child more intelligent overall?
It made me more street smart and more figure outable. Okay. I would say naturally I am smart. I'm an intelligent person, but where I excelled was always figuring it out, street smarts, being quick on my feet. And, I did take care of my younger brother a lot. So also very like protective in nature of anything going on around me, like always on the lookout, always just making sure that we were safe, that we were okay. And so I definitely think a lot of that, came to life because of having this, lifestyle where on the weekends we were out in nature. Sure.
As a member of the band, what instrument did you play?
So in middle school, I joined just the regular middle school band, and I started with the drums. And once I got into high school, I was in the drum line, and I played the bass drum and the cymbals.
Okay. Were there any movies that came out around that time where you was like, wow, this is really my movie right here. I'm feeling it.
When I was in high school? Titanic. Yeah. Cedric, Titanic.
Titanic.
That was like
Why?
middle school, high school for me. When Titanic came out, I lost my mind over Leonardo DiCaprio. I was obsessed. I think I saw it at the theaters 4 times. I had his posters. I used to like kiss the posters. Yeah, that was my movie in middle school. And also when Spice World came out, I was really into Spice World.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you were also a lover of the movie Titanic, drop a 1 in the chat. I thought you were going to say, something like the movie Drumline or
that was too late. That was later than my time.
Okay, got you. But I mean, something like that. There were no musical movies that came out at the time. It's like
I graduated in 2004 and we weren't like a part of that. All that stuff was a little bit later than me. So like when stuff that came out for me was like Titanic. I remember Spice World when I was in middle school. That was like, I was so obsessed with that. Again, my parents were strict, so I didn't always see everything that was coming out. I for sure didn't see any rated R movies. Absolutely not. PG-13 was debatable.
Right. So PG-13 was debatable.
Yeah. Especially when I wasn't 13. My mom was like, no, it's PG-13. You're 12. You can't see that.
Right. That's right.
Uh-huh. Real quick, also Dumb and Dumber.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I know every line. Yeah. Love that movie. That movie for me, there was one summer I remember my brother and I watched it almost every night. Love Dumb and Dumber.
Were y'all allowed to watch it or did you sneak and watch it?
That one we were allowed to watch because my aunt had seen it and told my mom it was okay. And you know what movie I got in really big trouble for? Do you remember the movie Misery with Kathy Bates?
No. What was it about?
If you have seen Misery, drop Misery in the comments because you know what I'm talking about. It's a scary movie with Kathy Bates, and she traps a writer in the mountains in her house, and she's horrible to him. My Japanese grandma let us watch it. When my mom found out, my mom lost her mind. She was so mad. And that movie haunted me all through middle school and high school, and I still can't watch it. It's so scary.
So your mother lost her mind, huh?
My mom was so mad at my grandma for letting us watch that. It's like not appropriate for kids to watch. It's so scary.
All of those different scenarios must have made you feel like you were special, like you were important, and like you had a big destiny out there in the world. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I remember when my friends would look at magazine covers and see. Sorry, Annie Keene Riley just wrote that movie was crazy. Yes, it was crazy. I remember seeing magazine covers and looking at them and seeing celebrities on the cover of magazines and thinking to myself, I am going to be on the cover of a magazine one day. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know where this is coming from. Remember, I'm in the Midwest. I'm in a suburb of Dayton, Ohio. We don't have celebrities there. At this point, I don't even think I really knew what California was. But I knew that I was destined for something. And I also remember when I first found out about California, it was when No Doubt had come out with the album Tragic Kingdom. I was in 4th grade, and Sublime had just come out with an album as well. I snuck into the CD store next to Marshall's when my mom took us to Marshall's, and I snuck out of the store and into the CD store. And I had gotten some money, and I bought these cassette tapes and CDs that my parents would not let me have. I remember looking at them and looking at the information, and it said Long Beach, California. And I was like, what's that? What's California? I remember going to the library and looking up California, and I said, I'm going there. I am going to California. That is meant for me. And now I live in California. Wow.
You represent the heart of America when you say that you're from outside of Dayton, Ohio, the Midwest, and you have parents who are providing a safe environment for you, and they're tucking you in. They're tucking you into their agenda. They're tucking you into their perspective, and all you have to do is grow up inside of that bubble. But you had something inside of you saying that one day I am going to exit safely, and I'm going to go out there and explore the world. I think that's the dream that so many of us have, especially young people who grew up in the middle of America. You're not on the coast where there is big, tremendous things happening all the time. And you represent the possibility of big success. outside of your hometown environment.
Yes. And thank you so much for picking up on that. It's something that for years, it was actually a struggle for me because why do I feel this way? Why do I want this? I have a good life here. I have good opportunities here. Why do I want to leave? And there's that internal struggle that you have where it's like, do you feel ungrateful from where you're from? Do you like, why is it you don't care about living next to your family? That's a struggle when you decide that when you know you've got to go somewhere and you've got to move and get out of your hometown. There's so much that goes into, the mind trip of that. And for years, I struggled with that until I realized it simply was meant to be. It was written in the stars for me. And I was just answering that calling.
Mm-hmm. Now, Go ahead.
And I was just going to say, because I answered that calling, I now have learned everything I've needed to learn to get my life to where it is today. And I'm living the life that when I was in 4th grade, looking through those album covers, I said, I want whatever that life is there. I want the palm trees. I want the beach. I want that. I have worked years to get to that point just because I answered the calling. So if any of you are watching and there's a calling deep down inside, whether it be travel or, an alternative path for your education or your career, know that that calling is there for a reason. And you need to answer the calling, make an action plan towards what that calling is.
How did you actually get from where you grew up to California? Can you kind of give us a blueprint?
Yes. So I graduated high school 2004. I picked up and moved to Portland, Oregon, where my godfather and his family lives. I spent about 6 months with them. I enrolled in college. I dropped out of college. I then moved to Long Beach, California. I enrolled in college. I dropped out of college. Job-wise, I was working any job that I could to pay the bills and get by. Restaurants, events, nanny, cleaning houses, whatever I could. I financially couldn't make it. I went back to Dayton. I got back to Dayton when I was 20. I was only gone for like a year and a half. And I immediately started working in the...
Let's slow this down.
Okay.
You are sharing a tremendous story that so many people can relate to out there. And I want to break it down a little bit because there's a silver lining in all of this. First of all, you left, you enrolled in school. You said, this particular thing is not for me right now. You went to California, got back in school, you said, nope, this is not the right fit. So you are twisting and turning and flipping and flopping, trying to find the right fit, the right feel of your life. And that's what so many people, including myself, are really afraid to do, or have been afraid to do. I'm not afraid of it anymore, but I can definitely identify with it in the past. People are afraid to put their foot in this water and then go put their foot in that water, and you twist and you turn and figure it out. But there is a big, big victory at the end of the tunnel if you can actually find a scenario that fits. And you went back home.
I went back to Ohio. Do you know how embarrassing that was? It was devastating. Yeah. It was truly devastating. And of course, it was just my ego. I thought I was a failure. I thought I was a loser. I thought I had no direction. All of those things when I went back. And I immediately started working in the restaurant industry. I knew that I could make the most money possible if I became a server. And as soon as I turned 21, I became a bartender so I could make even more money. And again, Cedric, I enrolled in college and I dropped out. I enrolled and I dropped out. I enrolled and I dropped out. I think I enrolled and dropped out about 5 times before I was 24 years old. And when I was 24, I finally found a program that held my interest that I could complete. And I ended up getting a certificate in photography. It was a 1.5-year program and I thrived in it. But again, like you said, I kept trying. I kept trying to figure it out. And I never let go of the thought of like, I know I need to be doing something more than what I'm just doing. And again, it was hard. My early 20s were not easy.
Right.
Bills to pay, trying to go to school and dropping out, trying to just figure out life. And so I look back on that time because I'm 34 now. I look back on that and I'm like, wow, Lauren, you You really struggled during that time. And I think one of the things, if I were to go back, and if any advice I can give to anyone right now who feels like they're struggling, find a mentor or a coach or a community that aligns with what your higher goal or purpose is, and get connected with people who can help support you. I didn't have that. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't even know that was a thing. And so if I could have had someone at that time that I was really connected with, that understood that I was different, that understood that I was unique, understood that I was going on my own path to success, I feel like that really could have helped me at that time.
You know, we've really got to normalize people going out into the world and figuring out what scenario makes them feel their best. How did your parents react when you went through all those changes in your 20s?
Again, my parents were really strict. And so that was a really challenging time for our relationship. A lot of disappointment on their end because they had really high expectations for me. Because again, I am an intelligent person, but college at that time just wasn't the answer for me. And so our relationship struggled during this time period in my life. It really did.
How did you all reconcile?
Time and like proof that I was okay.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually saw, they're like, wait, she's paying her own bills. She's living a good life. She loves where she works at, because I worked at amazing restaurants. Mm-hmm. And once they saw that I was doing good, even though it was a different version of their good, just time. It just took time.
Who did they think that you were going to be? What was their idea for you?
They thought I was going to go to college for like interior design, and that I was going to become like an interior designer.
Right.
Their big thing was the piece of papers, was me getting a degree, and I still don't have a degree. And it's even better. It's interesting now because some of that stuff that it still comes up years later. Some of the stuff from back then, like some emotions will come up from experiences in the past now. And I'm kind of like, well, look at me now without my degree doing what I do.
Right.
And I know that sounds cocky, but I don't mean it to be cocky, but it's just kind of like full circle for me.
Right.
My mom is like, oh my God, you wrote a book this year. This is crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Look at me now.
Yeah. We have more to go with Lauren Turton. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of your tenacity and your willingness to listen to that inner voice saying, go out and do something different. We'll be right back with more from Lauren. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. How you feeling out there?
I'm great. How's our audience feeling?
Drop one in the chat if you're feeling great out there. Now, you put up a book before we went to the break. What was the name? It was called Soul. Talk about your book. What's the name of it?
Do we want to jump to my book yet, or do we want to go through a little bit more of my 20s?
I want to see that book, and then we'll finish. Yeah.
All right, so it's called Soul Career Clarity, and it's the 8-step formula to break through to your next level of success so you can live the life you desire and deserve. Absolutely. And this book is based off of the first half of the program that I work with my clients on. I help women create a high-ticket offer so they can hit 10K a month. So this book is the first half of that program.
Wow. Now, the reason why I wanted to look at the cover of that book and just get that high level idea of what it was about is because the journey that you went through in your 20s really gave you the content of that book.
Absolutely, Cedric.
And what I want people to understand is the value of the journey. That 10-year stretch from 20 to 30 is one of the most important decades of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Face the challenge, go through the challenge, see it as your rites of passage to true adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
It's your rites of passage to the manifestation of your best adult self. So embrace it.
Yes.
In Lauren's case, she took a book out of it. What will you take out of your 20 to 30 decade? So let's continue. You were adjusting, you went home, you decided I'm still going to succeed. And what did you do after that?
So from, 20 to 26 years old, I was working at a couple different bars. I absolutely loved where I worked. I had amazing bartending shifts. And at one point I did go to a community college to get a certificate in photography. Mm-hmm. I obtained that certificate when I was 25 years old. And when I went on a quick 4-day vacation to San Diego, California, I said to myself, I'm going back to California. It's time. Mm-hmm. I'm moving again. And I ended up moving here only 4 months after that vacation.
Okay.
No game plan, not a lot of money in the bank, but I just knew I needed to get back to California. And I knew that San Diego was the spot because I lived in LA, Long Beach previously. And once I came to San Diego, I said, that's it. That's my spot. I'm going there.
How'd you know? How'd you know San Diego was the spot?
A feeling, that intuition, that feeling. I had it on day 2 of the trip. I said, whoa, what is this? I'm home. Right. I am home. Right. This is where I'm meant to be. This is my home. And again, I moved only 4 months after that.
Mm-hmm. You know what I like about that is that there are some beautiful places right here in America, just waiting for us to discover them and just waiting to make your life a totally different experience. I mean, you could be in one area geographically in the United States having an experience that is just like, oh, come see, come saw. But you can move somewhere else and your quality of life jumps. Go ahead. Talk about that. Talk about that explosion of experience when you move.
When you move and when you are there at the right time, the right place where you're meant to be, that feeling of home that I was talking about, you get aligned with the people you're supposed to be aligned with. Opportunities come your way. And when you do move to places with a larger population, like a bigger city, there's just more opportunity there. It is what it is. And so when you get in these environments, there's just so much more that comes your way. And also for me, what was so important was being around a community of people that were really open-minded and supportive. In different parts of the country, I've found that it's not that. And in Southern California, people are so open-minded and so supportive, especially in San Diego. And I just knew that I needed to get here. And as soon as I got here, I just jumped right in and started taking any job that I could in the server, bartender, or events world. I got linked in with an event company right away, which led me to getting a position at a restaurant as a manager. And I met some key people right away who started taking me out, introducing me to people, getting me dialed in. And pretty soon I was throwing events at all of the nightclubs in San Diego. Only like 1 year after moving here, I started throwing art shows.
You were able to do some very effective networking.
Mm-hmm. And the thing with effective networking, folks, is you have to be okay with putting yourself out there and going to places alone. Cedric, I would go to the nightclubs by myself until I saw somebody that I met briefly, maybe a week or two before, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that person. I met them. I'm going to go say hi. And I just walk and be like, hi, I met you a couple weeks ago. I'm Lauren. Right. And that is what my first, 6 months to a year looked like in San Diego. I was alone all the time. But I would go out and meet people and make it happen because I knew I was where I needed to be.
What did you say to these people that brought them to the realization that they should work with you somehow?
I was just very forward. Hi, my name is Lauren. I just moved here. I don't have friends. I want to throw art shows. I've seen that the nightclubs don't have art shows. I can do this. And then eventually one of the venues gave me a chance and I put together an art show. Then another venue heard about it, put together an art show, and I ended up doing art shows in the nightclubs here for almost 4 years.
Okay. And so you became an event producer.
I did. I actually, at that time, I had my event company that would do events at the nightclubs, and I got brought on by a large-scale, high production company to be the assistant to the owner of the company. And the way that I got that job was by looking at event production companies, making a list of them, and hitting up every owner until one of them hired me. I had no experience in that world. One of the owners, I followed her around for almost a year because I was bartending at events for a different event company. And I would see her and be like, oh, she's the event producer. I want to work for the production company. I just go up to her, hi, I met you a couple months ago. Hi, it's me again. Hi, can I friend request you on Facebook this time? Hi. Right. And then eventually, like a year after me being like, hi, she hired me. And I ended up working at that company for 5 years.
Wow. Be a go-getter. Be a go-getter.
Be a go-getter and don't care what other people think of you.
Yeah, I love that. You said, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to reintroduce myself. I'm going to reintroduce myself.
I'm going to reintroduce myself.
and you were like that duck that's gliding across the pond, because underneath all of those numerous introductions and appearing at parties, I'm sure you were looking your best. Inside, you were thinking about the loneliness, the adversities that you had overcome, the unorthodox path that you chose to take, and how the pressure was on you to make it all victorious. Exactly. And then you made it. So how many events did you end up producing?
I've been involved in over 200 events. It's almost to the 300 level. Numerous companies listed in, the Forbes, Forbes Richest list, Fortune 500, internationally known nonprofits. Worked at some of the big name nightclubs here in San Diego, Hard Rock, Omnia, Andaz. And it was a really, really interesting time in my life because we worked so hard in that industry. And I left that industry 2.5 years ago. Okay.
And you moved on to what?
So I left that industry 2.5 years ago because it was time to go. I was to the point where I was tapped out. We would work, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and it was physical work. Right. And the company that I worked for was going under, and I had that moment where I had to make a decision. Do you start your own company, Lauren? And by say start your own company, I already had my own company, but do you go full-time with it? Do you make this your 100% thing? Or do you get a job at another production company? And I was like, if I get another job at another production company, I'm going to have to start at the bottom.
Right.
And I decided to go all in on having my company. And I just started offering services that I knew I could help people with. Photo shoot production, video production, some marketing and some branding. We did all of that in the event world. So I just pulled some of the things from the event world and let people know, hey, if you have a video shoot coming up, let me produce it. Hey, if you have a video shoot, I'm the person to contact. And at the end of 2018, I wrapped up 6 months worth of having my own company with about 15 clients. And I was really, really proud of myself that I was able to get those 15 clients pretty much at last minute.
Sure.
And then what I decided to do is take my services online. Because one of the things I realized during that time frame was, wait a minute, this is physical work like the event world. And if I don't take my services online, I'm never going to be able to scale my company, and I'm never going to have location freedom. And location freedom was very important for me. So I said to myself,
what is location freedom?
Location freedom is when you live the laptop lifestyle and you can work from anywhere in the world. I knew I wanted that. So I said to myself, how can you work with clients online? I had no idea how to do this, and I taught myself how to do it. I found experts who were in that arena, and I just started studying them and following them and figuring out how to take my services online. And I've been in this space now for almost 2 years.
Who were some of the people that you studied?
One, she's amazing. Her name is Danielle Leslie. Another great one in this space is Steph Joanne. She's all about systems and sales funnels. Marie Forleo, she's an unbelievable, female business coach. As you can see, they're all women that I started, looking at. I'd say, wait a minute, how are they doing, that amount in sales? Wait, what is the system behind how they run their business? And that's how I started figuring it out. Again, figuring it out.
Sure. So for women who might be out there in the audience who are thinking about starting their own businesses, their own enterprises, or just getting out there and doing it, and they're looking to you for advice or wisdom, what would you say to them?
So the first thing that I want you to think about is what's important to you for having your own business. Is something like the location freedom coming up for you? Because if location freedom is important to you, then you want to have a service-based online business. So start thinking about the long-term goals of having your own business. If you're thinking, oh, I want a product, well, start thinking of the logistics of having a product-based business. Are you going to store the items in your house and ship them out? Are you sourcing the items? Are you creating the items? Start thinking of the logistics and the long-term results that you want with having your own business. And then from there, dial into who it is I want to help. Who do you want to help? Do you want to help other people? Do you want to solve a problem for them? What does that look like? Start asking yourself those questions, and that will help guide you on the type of business you want to create and launch.
Right. How does one get their business from the ground level to happening, and then from happening to, like we said, high ticket offerings? How do you scale that mountain?
So here's the interesting thing. You can actually start your business off with a high ticket offer. You don't even need to be offering low ticket offers from the beginning. And a high ticket offer is when you work with your clients and you solve a problem for them, and you work with them for an extended period of time, 3 months, 6 months, maybe even a year. Because you're solving a major life problem for them, they're going to pay you good money to work with you. So high ticket is $2,000 a client, $5,000 a client, $10,000 a client. And believe me, any limiting beliefs you're having coming up right now, like, well, I can't solve problems for people that are, yes, you can. You have expertise. You have knowledge. Somebody else needs to know what you know, and you can help them through the process. So I actually start my clients off with a high ticket offer. That's the first thing I help them create, because I want them to create a stable foundation to their business. And then after that, we add on the low ticket offers or the freebies.
Whoa. So you have broken the mold from really from the very beginning. You broke the mold when you decided to live the life that you wanted to live. But here we are talking about business, and you're not saying start off on the sidewalks, cold calling and going door to door. You're saying start off with a high ticket offer, aim high, and then you can add on the other services later on. But create your high ticket offer first.
Create it first, because here's the thing. When it comes to sales, it's the same amount of energy that goes into selling something. So why not just sell something that is more in value? A $5,000 offer versus a $500 offer, it's going to take the same energy to sell it. So just go with the high ticket first. And also creating stability within your business. If your revenue goal is $10,000 a month, and you have a $5,000 offer, you only have to sign 2 clients a month. But if your offer is $5, $50, or $500, think of how many more clients or customers that you have to enroll in order to reach 10K a month.
Right. You know, another thing that comes to mind when you explain this is the reality that we've got to aim high. You know, sometimes when an organization that brokers high volume deals, they deal with millions of dollars, and you want to get on their radar, you want to do business with them, and it's hard enough to get their attention. But then once you get their attention, your ask is for $500. And $500 is nowhere in the language of their budget, because they're always dealing with, you know, at least $5,000. And so until you gain the audacity to create a high ticket offer and provide a high ticket offer, sometimes you can't get into the game of business.
Exactly. And also, when people pay more money, they pay more attention. So if you come out with a high ticket offer, the clients you're going to be working with are going to be high ticket clients. You're going to be working with your dream clients rather than low ticket offers. There's a lot of drama that goes into low ticket offers because it's a low ticket client. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And I'm sure there's so many limiting beliefs that are coming up for people who are like, wait, what? This is crazy. But believe me, if I can do it, a college dropout, you can do it too. It's just about dialing into what problem can you solve for other people and then packaging it in the right way, which I have some free trainings that I'm more than happy to share with this audience so that you can start working on this on your own.
How do you find clients?
I find clients through organic marketing. Okay. My clients come to me through my Facebook post, my Instagram post. I also reach out to my ideal clients and start conversations with people. I speak on other people's platforms like I'm doing here today. And I also make sure I do one press release a month. And sometimes I get featured in different publications. And that's how.
What is the power? What is the power of the press release?
Press releases are great because you write about something that's coming up in your business. You submit it to PR.com, and then it gets pushed out into the internet world, and other publications can pick up and run that press release. Now, even if nothing gets picked up and ran by another publication, that content is still out there on PR.com. So when people Google search your name, all of those press releases come up. So it's just more content that's out there about you, validating your services.
Mm-hmm. And what is too big or too small for a press release?
My press releases are usually 1 page long, 3 or 4 paragraphs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And also content wise, is it, well, I'm creating a new t-shirt, let me drop a press release about that, or I'm creating a new event, let me create a press release about that? Is it both?
Anything that you have coming up in your business, write a press release and put it on PR.com. If you have an event coming up, a workshop, a book release, a t-shirt line, anything, if you hire someone new and expand your company, that's press release worthy.
Are we missing out on a fairly large aspect of business if we're not completing press releases and submitting them?
Yes, at least once a month.
See, this is the value of a conversation with someone like Lauren, who's a business coach and a subject matter expert. Where can we find your book?
You can find my book on Amazon. If you type in Soul Career Clarity or Lauren Turton, also I'll give you the link, bit.ly/SCC, all capital, paperback, the P is capital.
Okay. Soul Career Clarity.
Yes. Here, I'll type it in our chat for you, SCC.
Yes, and feel free to come back and drop links in the chat. Yeah, sure.
Yes, so on Amazon you can get the paperback version. I have it for $20, and I also have the Kindle version for only 99 cents. I also released a journal to go with the book, because in this book you're going to find so many exercises to help you break through to your next level of success. And I included prompts that you need to be doing daily. So I also released a journal to go with the book. So you'll find that on Amazon as well.
What has been the power of social media in your growth?
You know what? I decided about 3 years ago to really step it up with social media. I had a friend who was younger than me tell me, Lauren, you need to do Instagram stories. And I was like, what? No, that's stupid. Nobody cares about my life that much. And she was like, do it. And I have pretty much gotten all of my business through Instagram. The power of social media is incredible for your business, but also it has to do with the content that you're putting out there and the follow-up of the people who are engaging with your content. Okay. And also putting your face on there. You know, if you look at my Instagram account, like my picture's on there. If you look at my Instagram stories, I'm talking direct to camera. You want people to know, like, and trust you. People buy from brands they know, like, and trust. So you have to be a brand that they know, like, and trust. And the only way for them to know you is by putting yourself out there. If any of you who are watching this have a hurdle with that, hit me up, send me a DM on Instagram, and I will help walk you through this. No problem at all. I'm so happy to help with that.
You're taking new clients now. Ladies and gentlemen, get in touch with Lauren on Instagram, Facebook. I'm sure there's an email address somewhere out there, a link tree somewhere out there.
Yeah, I actually have a Facebook community I would love for you to join. I do free trainings every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I would love for you to join this community. It's a great group of people who are working towards their goals, their next level in their business. And it would be a great community for you to be a part of as you are on your journey.
What's the name of it?
I just put the link in our chat. To join this group, all you have to do is go to join.laurenturton.com.
All right. Yeah, I think that you're firmly on to something. A lot of people are getting into business right now. People want location freedom. People are getting on the internet, figuring out how to get involved virtually, right? But there continues to be a surge of women who are getting into business and who are doing it swell. And so you represent that caliber of achievement today. And I think that that's super cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm helping my clients get to the level where I am today. My goal is to help you create a high ticket offer, launch that offer, and hit 10K a month. Personally, I'm going from 10K a month to 25K a month. And I am helping you with the same strategies that I use to hit these numbers in sales. So if you're sitting here and you're like, dang, I want to help people and I want to hit 10K a month, then I'm your girl. I'm here for you.
Hold up. Are you telling me right now that you're doing $25,000 a month or heading toward $25,000 a month?
It looks like this month I'm on track this month to hit that.
Wow. I mean, that's the American dream. I mean, you say it modestly, but 10 out of 10 people want to figure out how to accomplish that.
And you know, the thing is too, to circle back to everything we've been talking about, you guys have heard my journey now. I'm a college dropout. And I have one parent that's an immigrant. So technically, when you look at the statistics of what I'm supposed to achieve and not achieve, it's like I'm not supposed to be where I'm at today. And I'm such an advocate that you can do anything you want as long as you put an action plan behind it. And if you align and you engage and work with coaches and mentors that are going to help you who've already done it, you can do it too. You just have to be willing to do it.
What is your thoughts on sales funnels? Are they gimmicky now, or is there a sales funnel route that's the real deal?
So I love sales funnels, but I do get what you're saying about them being gimmicky. I currently don't have any sales funnels. I don't even have a sales page for my program. All I have is the join.laurenturton.com. That page takes you to click a button where you'll put your email in, and then you get an email about joining the Facebook group. Once you're in my Facebook group, that's the only funnel that I have going on right now. I just wanted to keep it simple, direct to the prospects. And so that's why I have that. I do see the value in sales funnels, but again, I don't have them. I don't use them. I don't think they're necessary until they become necessary. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. There's a time and place for it.
I think next year I'll probably create sales pages and sales funnels, but until then, I'm just doing exactly this. I'm talking to people. I'm engaging.
Right. I find so much joy in the way that you said, I'm going to create a life that's meant for me. That's what everybody's trying to do. They might not have started on that until COVID came around, but now there are so many people who are trying to do exactly what it is that you're doing. And I'm very much inspired by that. Now, I've just got a few questions for you as we round third base. And we've got about a minute for you to answer these three questions. The first is, what is survival to you?
Survival to me is knowing that you're giving it your all. knowing that you are doing and trying your best, that you are surviving. That's survival to me.
What is success to you?
Success is consistent action, taking action consistently. That to me is success, because if you're taking consistent action, you are going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. And what is greatness to you?
Greatness to me is when I'm helping others and when other people are helping others, because if we help each other, so much greatness can happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, go out there and get her book, Soul Career Clarity by Lauren Turton. I want to let you know that I've listened to your story today. I've been inspired, and I want to give you your crown today. Ladies and gentlemen, drop a crown in the chat for Lauren today. We're giving you a crown, and we're also giving you your respect while you can still receive it. We are letting the world know, letting you know that you, Lauren Turton, you are America's next motivator.
Woo!
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for stopping by today, and I look forward to your success, future talks, and just keep it in touch. Thanks for stopping by today, all right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do, just like you did today, is stop by and pick it up. Oh, we got a couple crowns in the building. Where they at? There you go.